Hello, welcome to the Joe Cortez Show here in Las Vegas, Nevada, the boxing capital of the world. Well, today we have a special guest, a fighter who's been in the game for many years. He did 22 years as a professional. And I remember when I first started out as a referee back in New York City in 1977, this fighter, who became a world champion after, he was a Golden Glove champion, a featherweight champion in New York City, and that was the referee. That was my first championship fight in the amateurs. I did for 6 months in the amateurs, then I went pro. And this fighter by the name of Juan Laporte from Puerto Rico, from Guayama, Puerto Rico. He was a great fighter. He fought 22 years as a professional. He fought some of the great ones. I can tell you, I read off some of the names of the fighters that he fought. I mean, they're all Hall of Famers. Salvador Sanchez, Isilibio Pedrosa, Asuma Nelson, Wilfredo Gomez, Barry McGuigan, Costa Zoo, Julio Cesar Chavez, and he retired in 1999 with a record of 40 and 11. And he was an outstanding fighter. I tell you, he fought Danny Little Red Lopez on 2 occasions and stopped him twice. Once in the 13th round and the second fight in the 14th round. He's also stopped the great fighter from Puerto Rico, Wilfredo Gomez. He stopped him in 8th round. And he also fought Asuma Nelson. He stopped him in the 15th round. I mean, 22 years of career as a fighter with a 40-16 record, 1 draw. I mean, it is an honor to have on our show today Juan Laporte. Welcome to the show, Juan Laporte, one of the great ones of all times. How you doing, buddy?
Thank you, my friend Joe. Everything is good. I mean, it's a pleasure being on the show and getting to chat a little bit with you.
Well, you know, Juan, I tell you, I was just telling the viewers out there today that I referee you in the amateurs. Never got to referee you in the pros, but I got to referee you in the Madison Square Garden when you won your featherweight championship back in 1977. You remember that?
Yeah.
That was
long time.
a long time ago, and you still look like you're still in shape to continue fighting.
Yeah, I'm fighting with my life.
You're in Puerto Rico right now. You in Guayama, Puerto Rico right now?
Yeah, I'm in Puerto Rico in front of the bar, the sports bar, playing pool, just relaxing.
Yeah, having a good time, man. Good.
Look at the view back.
Yeah. Okay.
Ocean.
Okay. Is that red car back there your little sports car back there?
My sports car's in the front. There's a white one.
That's all right. Okay, cool. Well, Juan, let's tell you have a couple of sons. I know you were living in Brooklyn, New York for a while, right?
Yeah.
And now you're
my boys out in Brooklyn. The other one of them moved to Florida, Orlando. I'm in Orlando.
Is that right?
And I'm here by myself, so they come to visit.
Okay. Now I was looking at your record. I tell you, I was really impressed with the some of the fighters that you fought, like Salvador Sanchez, Pedrosa, Suma Nelson, Wilfredo Gomez from Puerto Rico, Barry McGuigan, Costa Zoo, Julio Cesar Chavez. I mean, these are all Hall of Famers. These guys were all great champions, and I hope that one day, in the very near future, I'll like to see you get inducted into the International Hall of Fame. We're going to make that happen because you deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. You were a great champion with a great record, and just a matter of time before you're in the Hall of Fame as well.
Now, that's good. That'll be done soon as the politics be over with these guys.
Well, you deserve to be in there for sure. We're going to make sure that happens. We're going to make sure that happens in the very near future. Now, tell me a little bit about your career. How did you get started in boxing?
Well, I don't know. You remember Carlos Espada, right?
Yes.
The guy that was training me from Brooklyn.
Right.
I used to fight in the street, so he picked me out. And he kept teasing me that he was going to get somebody so I could fight with. And one day I took him up. I said, let's go. I'll fight whoever you want. and he took me to fight, remember Jimmy Cruz?
Yes.
He took me to fight Jimmy Cruz, but Jimmy Cruz's father didn't let me. because he said I didn't have no experience. So I
Okay.
fought somebody else.
Okay. Well, he did.
I fought somebody else. And,
He did the right thing. But you showed him what you had down the line. You would turn out to be one of the great ones of all times in boxing.
yeah, no, definitely.
Now,
Yeah,
now,
on, um,
who was your?
pick and go.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, from there on is let's go. I fight anybody, and that's the way it went.
Okay.
So they
Now you became champion. In what year did you become champion?
in 82, 1982.
When you beat the gentleman from Colombia,
Mario
Mario.
Colombia,
Yeah,
Miranda.
Mario Miranda.
Yeah,
That was featherweight. He was undefeated when you fought him.
oh, definitely. He was a big punch. He had like 22 knockouts
Yeah, yeah,
first round.
yeah. But
Yeah,
you had a lot of good defense. You had a good boxing skills, and that's what kept you all these years fighting for 22 years as a professional. And you still got all your marbles together.
yeah, definitely. I mean, thank God for thank God for it and heart. I had a lot of heart. I didn't care, so I just went in there and fought.
Yeah, but you were a smart fighter. You was a thinking fighter in there. You were not crazy.
Right?
You
No, definitely. Got to be
is
a little smart. Yeah,
they call it a sweet science. Like you saw the other day, Devin Haney, who fought for the lightweight championship against this Australian fighter, Camoso, and he looked great. And
yeah.
Devin Haney, that jab that he had,
Very,
the jab won the fight for him.
yeah, definitely. Beautiful, beautiful fight.
Yeah,
Very well.
yeah, he was not slugging it out. He was smart, and that's where you got to be in this game. This is not a game. We're in the hurt business, so it's not a game. Not like basketball, football, basketball. You're in there. You and one guy. You're point in front of you. You're trying to knock each other out if you can. But David Haney wasn't going for the knockout. He was going for the win. He wanted to make sure that he got the win. And he was won just about every round in that fight.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I'm very proud of the kid
Yeah,
because he didn't do what the other guy thought he was going to do his fight. No, he did his own fight. He made him fight his fight, and
exactly.
that was what kept it.
You know, let me tell you that I met Devin Haney when he was 10 years old here in Mesquite, Nevada. He was fighting for the PAL tournament for junior PAL championships, and he won. He was 10 years old. I said, son, come here. I said, who's your trainer? He said, my dad. I said, where is he? Bring him over here. So he brought his father over named Bill. Bill said, Mr. Haney, your son has championship material. He said, really? I said, oh, yeah, this kid's got it all. I said, I don't know. I've been in there, some of the great champions of all times. I can tell you, this kid's going to be champion one day. Will you believe that 10 years later, Devin Haney is the WBC lightweight champion of the world? 10 years later, when he was 20. And now he's 23
That,
years old. Now he's a unified lightweight champion of the world. I mean, now he got all 4 belts, you know?
no, that's nice, to talk about because you had the eye, and it's beautiful. It's the same thing, when people came to me when I was young, and you remember Mario, the photographer?
Yeah, Mario, yeah, from Puerto Rico. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, he was from the Bronx. Mario, the I think he was Mexican. Zamora, I think it was his last name. I'm not sure that they robbed him and killed him. But that man put a crown on me when I was 16 years old.
Well, let me
He
tell you.
said, "Hit the crown because you're gonna be world champion." And
Well,
he
you
put
know,
a Burger King crown
well,
on that picture.
I can tell you that when I referee your fight in the Golden Glove, you became champion in the Golden Glove. I've said to myself at that time, I said, this kid's going to go places. You have a lot of talent. Just like I said about Iran Barkley, when he fought in Madison Square Garden, I was a referee for his fight, 6 rounds, 4 rounds, 6 rounds, 8 rounds. His trainer
Yeah,
asked
yeah.
me, Joe, what do you think? And I think it was Ike Chestnut, somebody that was training him. And I said, well, this kid got championship material. He's going to go places. I think he's got what it takes to be a champion. And he became, a middleweight champion. I remember him knocking out Tommy Hearns, and then he
Yeah.
fought Roberto Duran which I refereed that fight, and I said, "Wow,
Oh,
they're gonna be a good fight," because Roberto Duran was 35 years old, and Iran Barkley was like 26 years old, and he was in his prime, just finished knocking out Tommy Hearns. And will you believe that Roberto, one of the greatest fights I ever refereed? I remember it was my 29th world title fight. I ended up retiring with 176 world championship fights. And my dream
yeah.
was to do one title fight. I would have been happy as hell. I remember my first title fight was Aaron Pryor against Miguel Montilla in Atlantic City, of which I stopped in the 11th round with Aaron Pryor retaining his title. But going back to this Iran Barkley and Roberto Duran, Duran ended up becoming middleweight champion on a split decision back in 1989. I took one of the greatest fights I ever refereed. But refereeing your fight in the amateurs, I said to myself, this kid gonna go places. And here I'm looking at the record. Some of the fighters that you fought. I mean, Wilfredo Gomez from Puerto Rico, who fought Salvador Sanchez. Sanchez stopped him, and you were 21 years old with only 15 fights when you fought Salvador Sanchez, and it went 15 rounds, right? Can you tell us a little bit about Salvador Sanchez?
Salvador Sanchez was a great fighter. He was
Mexico.
from the best place in Mexico, I guess, because the lungs, the lungs that he had, forget about it.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
nobody else to have.
Yeah, but but but
This
you
guy
but,
was
but you stood in there. You stood in there with him. I mean, that's when it was
yeah,
15 rounds. Now it's only 12 rounds. But back 15, those are championship rounds.
yeah. No, that was a good fight. I mean, it was a good experience for me. It was my first 15 round fight, my first title fight,
Right.
and I only had 14 professional fights. So,
Yeah, yeah. It was.
but
It
I
was
learned a lot from it, and it got me ready for other things.
exactly. You did very well for yourself. I mean, we're proud of you for your accomplishments. Now, what happened now when you became world champion? What happened after that? How did your life change after you became world champion?
It didn't change that much because I kept, being me. I mean, I came back to my hometown. I started living back in Puerto Rico for a couple of years, and then I went back to New York. But yeah, it was great. I mean, because the experience, the people, and and the chances that I got, they were great. I loved it.
Now, let's talk a little bit in Spanish for a minute. Yes, some of our viewers out there, I'm sure, are watching. They want to know about Juan Laporte. Juan Laporte era uno de los mejores peleadores en el boxeo en el peso pluma. Juan Laporte de Guayama, Puerto Rico, está una de las leyendas más grandes porque ha peleado con los mejores en el mundo. Juan, dime en español a los que están mirando este programa, quiero que ellos sepan de tu vida hoy en día.
Bueno, le quiero enviar un saludo a todos los escuchantes que estén escuchando ahora mismo. Mi saludo para ellos. Y le quiero decir que mi carrera de boxeo ha sido, bueno, buena, porque todavía estoy sano y a salvo con todo, mi mente y todo. Este, y ha peleado con todo lo mejor que hay en esa división en mi tiempo. Y gracias a Dios ha salido bien.
Okay, man. Okay, that's very good. I'm glad we got that information out to our Spanish viewers who probably don't understand English, but now we brought them into the picture so they can see the ground. Juan Laporte, the condition you're in today, physically and mentally, you're 100%, as far as I'm concerned, from what I can see. We're very proud of you because you've given out so much to boxing. What are you doing in Puerto Rico with the youngsters out there? Are you helping out in any local gyms?
Well, Joe, yes, we have a gym from the city, and it's named after me. And right now, we have the politics that change because there's a new mayor. We work under them, and right now we're just waiting to some of the some of the people to change, some of the people to change, and then then we're gonna start opening up again. But I have the gym, and it's named after me, Juan Laporte.
Well, good, good, good. Tell that guy to be quiet for a minute before I go there and knock him out.
Cortez, viene para acá a chocarte. Joe Cortez, yes.
Okay.
Está en Las Vegas. una entrevista.
So anyway, so what we're gonna do,
Yeah.
now with all these years that you've been involved with boxing, you bring up these fighters. What's the talent looking like in Puerto Rico? You have good talent, fighters coming up.
Oh, definitely. You're gonna see a kid from Guayama on the fights tomorrow. I think name MSG, and his name is Diamani. He's from Guayama, Puerto Rico. He's like 22 years old, and this kid got a little. I think he's got a lot of potential, and if he goes right with the right people, I think he'll be another one that might be a world champion
Okay,
from Puerto
now
Rico.
what weight class is he?
He's I think a featherweight or junior featherweight, but he's around there.
So he's a small fighter, but some of these small fighters give you the best action in the world, like when you were fighting. I mean, all your fights were
Yeah.
action packed. You know, I mean, you show the world the sweet signs of how great you were. I mean, with your ring mechanics, your punching power, and you're always thinking, and that's why I'm so proud of you today because every time I call you, I talk to you. I mean, you're one of the few fighters that really has it all together, mentally and physically, and you're doing the right things. You have there's a gym in Guayama now, Guayama, Puerto Rico, where we're talking you from, and you showing that you want to give back to the community. I mean, boxing was good
But
to
Joe,
you.
one of the main things about being right and all this stuff is that I took care of myself, Joe. I mean, I did what I was supposed to do. I trained when when every time when I had to. I took care of myself. I never drank and took drugs or anything like that. So I mean, my mind and thank God that I've been this successful because I took care of myself and I knew I was 100%, so I didn't care about anything. I just went out there and gave him my all. That's all.
That's what it takes. A lot of discipline, a lot of confidence. But discipline is so important in boxing. A lot of people don't understand how the sacrifices that a fighter makes. Now, you did it for 22 years as a professional, not counting the years you did as an amateur. I mean,
Right,
you have to the discipline, the everything comes with the boxing. That's why they boxing is a great sport because you're there by yourself. Your trainer trains you,
right,
but in the ring, you and your opponent. So you have to have it builds up the confidence, your self-esteem, and the discipline that goes along with boxing. I mean, you can't make it if you don't have the discipline. Like you said, no gangs, no drugs, no alcohol, none of that. You were not involved with none of that. Yet you were living in the neighborhood in New York. You were surrounded with all those kind of people, but you were smart
exactly,
enough. But you were smart enough to stay with boxing and focus. You were focused 100%.
definitely. My was some advice, trying to give everybody advice about staying away from bad things and stuff. But whoever listened did, and whoever didn't, they went their way.
Yeah, you see, and that's what we need more of today. We need people like yourself talking to these kids because there's so much bad things that are happening in the world today. These kids today, since they took the religions out of the schools, the national anthems out of the school, the youngsters out there they have like no respect. You know, when they used to say a prayer or they used to say the national anthem, the Pledge of Allegiance in school, they did away with that, and you can see how bad the communities have come. It's just everything's gone downhill because there's no respect anymore. These kids, I mean, I've never seen the crimes as high as they are, like they are today. Back in the days when you and I were growing up in New York, you didn't hear about all these shootings, all these killings, all this drug and all that. There was drugs back then. The guys would smoke a little weed or whatever, a little heroin here and there, but it wasn't as bad as it is today. I mean, today
So,
we got
I,
thousands of kids that die of overdose every year here now.
Joe, the thing that kills everything is the politics, Joe. Politics kill everything because they're the one they choose and put people, in the top line for schools and they change a lot of rules in schools. I mean, all this crazy stuff that's happening in the school, they let the kids do whatever they want. If a boy wants to wear a dress, it's okay. But no, that's not. It's not okay. But they think it is, and this is what's messing up everything. And kids do whatever they want now. A
Yeah,
parent is not is afraid to raise a kid strongly. You understand the way they used to raise us? No, because they go to jail. If you put your hands on a kid, you go to jail. So there's a lot of things that change, and that's why this world is the way it is right now.
Yeah, you're 100% right. You know, I grew up in New York, in Spanish Harlem, in New York, and I became a boxer myself when I was 15 years of age. And I won my first Golden Glove championship in 1960 when I was 16 years old. And along with my brother Mike, then I won the Spanish Golden Gloves that year as well. I won the following year, in 1961, I won the New York Open Championship. I won the Eastern Golden Glove Championship. And I won the Intercity National Golden Gloves in Chicago. It was New York versus Chicago back then. And, I won a total of 6 Golden Glove championships, Golden Gloves, Spanish Gloves, Eastern's National. And, I would have not been able to do that if my mother would have not been as tough as she was with us. My mother, we come from a single parent home, and my mother played the role of a mother and father, and on top of
Yep.
that, she had to work. So it wasn't easy, for her to bring up 4 boys by herself, but she did it. Kept us all focused on the right track, and kept us well that discipline. She taught us a lot of self-esteem and how to build a confidence level. She taught all of that. She didn't want me to be a fighter because she thought I was too young and too skinny back then. But when I won my first Golden Glove championship, it was at a 112-pound championship in New York. And when I won the Open championship, I was only a 118-pounder. But I did it
Right.
all. I did it all. And but Emmanuel Stewart, the great trainer who trained some of the great fighters, he told me one day,
Right.
Joe, are you the skinny Puerto Rican that fought Oscar German in Chicago for the national championship? I told him, yes, he was. That's me. He said, man, that guy Oscar German beat me just before I got to the national, and you ended up beating him, and you became national champion. It was called the
Right.
Intercity Golden Gloves, and back in those days, it was also considered the National Golden Gloves. They also had another tournament called the National Golden Glove, but the East against the West, that was when my brother Mike and I took the championship. Mike took the championship as a lightweight against one of the O'Shea brothers, Tommy O'Shea, and Mike was 18, I was 17. But that was the beginning of our career, and that's how we got it. But we kept ourselves clean. If it wasn't for boxing, I don't know where I'd be today. The great fighter, Gaspar Indian Ortega, who was a great welterweight fighter, never became world champion, but he's definitely
Right.
remembered as one of the great ones. He had 185 professional fights, the great Gaspar Ortega, and only stopped twice. A TKO, once against Emil Griffith in the 11th round, and once against Sandro Masinchi in Italy, in between rounds in a corner. They stopped the fight. But Gaspar Ortega is the
Great.
man that got me started in boxing.
Ortega was a great man. He was beautiful to look at. This guy was in shape until we passed.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, he was always in the weight. and
He was a welterweight, 147.
yeah,
We have his son out here in Las Vegas now, Mike Ortega, who's a referee.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's good.
yeah,
He's good too.
yeah. So tell me, so who do you have? How do you see boxing today compared to the days when you were fighting?
Well, it changed so much. I mean, the talent is good, but easier to get places now because there's a lot of world championships. It's a lot of different titles. So I mean, it makes it a little easier for a fighter. So all you have to do is have talent and a little bit of good luck, and you're there.
You need a good management team behind you as well.
Yeah, definitely do.
Yeah, because that's what happened to me.
Yeah.
I turned pro, and I had 18-1 as a pro, but I wasn't going nowhere. I got so discouraged because I didn't have the right management team behind me, and I retired. And I remember I was in Puerto Rico, and I fought La Cancha del Country Club in Puerto Rico, and it was I had retired, and I came back 3 years later. I came back. I was working at the El Conquistador Hotel. I was a manager there, and then
Right.
I told the owner of the hotel if he would manage me. He said he would. So I got to go back and made a comeback, and I won against a Dominican fighter by the name of Salah Chapel. That was in 1971. That was my last pro fight, and it was
Wow.
it was a lot of fun. But I gave it up. I said, nah, it's not for me. I gave it up, and 7 years later, I came back as a referee, and I can tell you that I wish I would have refereed some of your fights. I was just not at the right time. When I became a
Well,
referee.
if they ref my fight with Chavez, I would have won.
Now, what happened with that fight, you and Chavez? What happened there?
I beat him, but you know how it was. You know, King, that's King's man, and the WBC, you know that. So I mean, the only way that I was gonna win that fight is by knocking him out,
So what happened? It
and
went to decision.
it went to a decision. I fairly won 6 rounds, definitely,
Yeah.
because they took a round because it was low, and then they still gave him the fight. Yeah, I can't believe it, but he knew it, and his people knew it, but the WBC never gave me the rematch.
Okay.
So, you know, that's what I was waiting for, but he never accepted me to fight him again.
Now, when you fought Danny Little Red Lopez, you fought him twice. Now he was one of the
No, no,
great.
I it was Salvador Sanchez. I was gonna fight him twice. The one yeah, the one I was gonna fight twice was Salvador Sanchez. So I fought him, and then for the rematch, the next day he passed away when I signed the contract.
Oh wow.
He got killed.
He got in an auto accident. Now you fought
Yeah.
Danny Little Red Lopez. Did you? We fought him once or twice?
No, no, Danny I didn't fight. Salvador Sanchez got to fight him before me.
Oh,
I
I
was
see.
gonna fight him. I was gonna fight him, but my test didn't come in time for the WBC because the heart test and all that stuff. So they gave it to him, and Danny Lopez fought with Sal Sanchez.
Oh, he fought with Sanchez. Okay, I see. I thought it was the other way around. But anyway, I was glad that to see that you got to fight so many world champions in your prime. You know, you were never a washed up fighter. You gave it all you had till the end. I mean, everybody loved to see you fight because they knew when Juan Laporte was in that ring, you're gonna see a fight. You know, it was really always so impressive watching you with your talent. You're smart, always thinking, good smart boxing. You had a great defense. You never really got hurt. Seriously, which
Thank God.
which was your best memorable fight?
Well, one of the best memorable fights that I was in great shape, but it was bad. It was Lockridge, Rocky Lockridge.
Rocky Lockridge.
Yeah,
Okay, and, yeah,
that was the first WBA, no, USBA title that he had, and it was a lot of pressure, and he was talking a lot. So I really wanted that fight.
yeah,
So yeah, that was one of my memorable fights.
and you ended up beating him, right?
Yeah, I knocked him on the second round.
Okay, now Lou Duva was his trainer at the time,
Yeah, yeah.
and
Um, what's his name? The fighter. What's his name? That they was the trainer. I forgot his name.
last
He
name
was a
Green.
great. No, no, he was a great fighter from Jersey. I forgot his name.
You had Bobby Ches. You had
He
Vinny.
had
Yeah,
Martinez.
he had Vinny Pazienza.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Damn, I forgot. Yeah, but anyway, he George Bent.
When you stopped
Remember
fighting,
George Bent?
George Benton was the trainer.
Yeah, yeah, George Bent. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah, he was a fighter. Yeah. Now, when you retired from boxing, I mean, what made you decide to retire from boxing?
well, you know, things weren't going good because 39 years old. You you know you fight, and when they come to a decision, they give it to the other person, even though you won the fight, but you could clearly see that. So I mean, I was gonna be used all the time, so I'd rather stop and just live a normal life.
Well, in boxing, sometimes, they use fighters with a name. They try to use them as a stepping stone, and you don't want to be a stepping
Right?
stone. You want to be remembered as a great fighter who was always smart,
Yeah.
and you had good skills. You had a great record, and you'd be some of the best ones out there in the history of boxing. Now, the next step's got to be is that we got to get you into the International Boxing Hall of Fame up in Canastota, New York. I'm gonna start
I want,
making. I'm gonna start making some calls. I'm
but
gonna start talking to the right people to make sure you get inducted. There's
yeah,
several other fighters out
but I
there.
want you as a referee, I want you to look at those fights and look at the decision, and you tell me who won the fight. Like
You,
when I fought Barry McGuigan, I had him hurt on the last round, and 7 seconds before the fight, they rang the bell because I
Wow.
had him hurt. So,
Well,
with Eusebio Pedrosa, they took out 3 points from him. Okay, he hit me 59 fouls. He got 3 warnings, and he still got the decision. How was that?
I don't know. It doesn't sound too good to me. Maybe you should be a referee.
One
Okay,
day.
brother. Well, thank you
Nah,
so much. And you fans out there, you viewers out there, thank you so much for watching this interview today with a great champion, Juan Laporte, who happens to be one of my heroes in boxing. And hopefully, down the line, we'll have him back on the show again. He's very talented, very intelligent, and we wish him the very best. We'll see you guys next week. Keep your guards up.